Coming up on today's show, a hell of a dilemma for you, Micah. Two of your favourite teams.
Everyone's going to be saying, the quad now, or they'll do the league. They're at the top of the table of the Champions League, a League Cup and everything. One cup at a time.
Haaland's never scored at Anfield against Liverpool. Does he try the same way, or does Erling come back? I quite like Jeremy Jackett. 60 million quid, eh?
The Oracle would normally have something to say with him. I've only seen clips of him, so I can't go big on him. I'm sorry.
And welcome to The Rest is Football with, just Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker, this morning. Alan is on the golf course in Portugal. What a life he leads, Micah.
Guys, is this acceptable? Come on. When we started this pod, it was supposed to be give everything. Make sure you're available. I've not missed one day through the niceties of life, let's say. It's nice. Only because of work. If I'm working, sometimes I can't make it. And even if I work, I try to do it after work. He's been to Portugal. He's been to Barbados. Where next?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, though, Micah, this is true. When I obviously got my dream team together, I thought to myself, if there are three of us, because all our other podcasts on Goal Hanger are two people, right? And if someone's missing, you can't do it. But I thought to myself, because I want to do lots of episodes and we have this motto, always on. So I thought, if there's three, then you can have the odd one off. I didn't see at that point that Alan would be constantly playing golf, constantly on holiday, and constantly whining about Newcastle's performances, wherever he may be in the world. And we'll come to that a little bit later. But there's only one person on this podcast that I don't think has missed a single episode, albeit one when you shafted me for timings or a technical problem. And that is yours truly, Micah. We're going to cover the Carabao Cup games. And they weren't very exciting. Let's put it that way. Arsenal-Chelsea was a damp squib of a game. And last night's game, we're doing this on Thursday morning, last night's game between Manchester City and Newcastle was all over in, 10, 15 minutes. It was done. Yeah. And you were working on that, Micah. I've worked on lots of games like that over the years, and it's very difficult with a live broadcast to try and instill a little bit of excitement, particularly at half-time at the end, because it was all over so early. I mean, I carried on and watched. I actually quite enjoyed the game. It was end-to-end. Both teams played trying to score goals. Newcastle should have scored a few more because Man City played quite, let's say, precarious high line at times. But as a broadcaster, Micah, it's difficult, isn't it? When there's nothing no longer at stake. There's no jeopardy anymore.
Yes, guys. I'm normally the energizer. I bring the energy. That's what I like to do.
Micah, the energizer, Richards. I quite like that. It's got a ring to it.
The energizer. What was on there? What did you call me? The gospel. What did you call me last week?
The oracle.
The oracle. A lot of my friends sent me that. Yeah. But you know when the energizer is not energized, you know there's a problem. So after 7 minutes when Marmoush scored, I'm thinking, it's 3-0 on aggregate. And you can't lie to the audience. The audience are not stupid. No. They want it as real as they possibly can. Give it to them. And I'm just like, there's no way Newcastle get back into this game. So you look for things tactically. At halftime, there was some good moves within the goals with Marmoush, and big players needed to perform and all that sort of thing. But in terms of the game itself, it was over after 7 minutes. If Newcastle was to get, or would have got the first goal, it could have been exciting. But after that, as a broadcaster, you're floundering of things to keep it going, really.
I know, there's a lack of energy, which isn't always the case on this podcast. This episode is powered by Fuse Energy. Winter is all about energy. Switching on Christmas lights, warming your home for a cozy night in, keeping the TV on for all the festive fixtures.
And Fuse keeps things simple thanks to their fixed rates, cheap tariffs, and 24/7 support.
Better yet, Alan, Fuse is the fastest growing energy company in the UK, and you can play a part in building the infrastructure for clean, affordable energy by referring land to Fuse for renewables development. Not only will you claim your place on the starting lineup of the clean energy revolution, you can earn a £2,000 reward by referring 20 acres or more of land to Fuse for solar projects.
They're building a system that proves renewable power can be affordable, scalable in practice, and accessible to everyone, not just an idea on a tactics board.
For more information about land referrals and energy powering the full festive fixture list, head to land@fuseenergy.com. Right, we're back with the Energizer, and after that little break. Yeah, what do you think to Man City's tactics in terms of, it was almost a Barcelona-esque high line in the game. Do you think Pep was trying something?
I think he's been doing it for a few games though, guys. And I think that's where they've been caught out. I think since Pep Linders has come to the club, there's been certain moments when he's turned to him. And
that's Man City coach that was with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool.
Yes, which was bizarre, I thought. But, you know, if there's any insight he can get in Liverpool, all the better. And he's changed his coach multiple times. Pep, people gone on to be managers, Arteta, Maresca, and so forth. And I don't mind the high line. There's nothing wrong with the high line. I feel like when we talk about a high line as defenders, I always like, oh, it's a bit, as long as the team know what they're doing. So when he was playing Spurs and there was winning 2-0, halftime, there's a time and a place to do it. And if you're going to be high, all know what to do when you lose the ball. And if you can't win the ball high, just give yourself an extra 5 yards. So in terms of that, I don't mind it. But I have to say, being at the ground, Man City on the ball were amazing. And they did it sort of in a different way. Not something that they haven't done before. So they had the box in midfield. So you had Gonzalez and O'Reilly as your 2 number 6s, and then Foden and Reinders as your 2 number 10s. But they split the strikers really high and wide, so the width was coming from the strikers. So Marmoush down one side, Semenyo played on the right, and Newcastle just didn't know how to deal with it, because what they was doing, they was going really deep to get the ball, and then Foden and Reinders could get on the ball. So maybe Foden, the Reinders would make the run, then Semenyo would stay wide, Marmoush, and then they would come in, but Newcastle was only playing with 3 defenders.
They were at a loss, Newcastle. They couldn't cope with it at all.
They didn't know what to do. 3 centre-halves. So it was playing essentially 5 at the back. But when Man City got the ball in the areas where they wanted, they only had 3 at the back because they broke that line if Trippier and Hall was a little bit higher than expected. And Newcastle just didn't know what to do. So in terms of Man City on the ball, that's one of the best I've seen them this season. I thought that was excellent. And the high line helped them a lot with that to cage Newcastle in.
We were on the group chat last night, weren't we? And I think it's fair to say that Alan was a little bit grumpy. And he desperately wanted to be part of this podcast. So he's done a little video for us, Micah. Here it is.
Yes, guys, another poor performance or poor result from Newcastle at the Etihad. Probably didn't expect anything different, particularly after the first leg. But yeah, we were not good enough in forward positions, particularly in centre forward positions. We had a few chances, but didn't take them again. So the best team won, certainly over the 2 legs, and they're going to the final, and we're not. And just to make matters worse, for a shit day, our pro-am was cancelled today because of wind and the rain, and Newcastle knocked out, which they didn't deserve anything more. So there you go. Apart from that, it's been a great day. Cheers.
He didn't have a very good day.
Can we talk about the slightly odd shot of that? He's like got his arms crossed with his legs crossed, full body. He's definitely had a drink. 100% he's had a drink.
That's his full grumpy pose as well, I think. Full grumpy pose. Yeah, he didn't have his best day yesterday. He was going quite well the day before. He's quite chirpy because I think they were about third in the order of the golf event, but then it got rained off. But I just want to come back to that point that you made, Micah, about the way, and it was really interesting tactically the way they did it and split the two forwards. Can you play that way with Erling Haaland?
Oh, what a question that is. Probably not.
It wouldn't come naturally to him.
Because, I mean, he could try it if Man City dominating someone against the better teams. I feel as though he would struggle. The reason why it worked because Semenyo and Marmoush are very mobile. And you said it right from the start. I've got to give you credit. Marmoush, he's got really good movement. He's lively. But when he plays in a number 9 and he's trying to hold off defenders, it doesn't work for him. When he can touch and spin into the corners like he did for his goal, it was amazing. It was a lot more fluid. And when we talk about Haaland, and I'm his biggest fan, for what he does, and just not the fact that we all know Haaland can't really hold up the ball like we expect him to do, but what he does
he
very
can,
well.
But he's not his strength.
Yes, but it attracts so many players to him to allow other players to play, and no one really talks about that. That's amazing for the team. But the difference with Marmoush, when he gets into them little pockets and then spins and then goes, and it's just a different way of playing.
Yeah. They're at Anfield this weekend. Erling Haaland's never scored at Anfield against Liverpool. Does he try the same way with the same players, or does Erling come back?
Has he never? He scored against Liverpool. He scored at Liverpool. Was that at the Etihad though? Not at Anfield.
So I'm reliably told.
No, I think you're right. I think you are right. What would I do?
Well, it's not what you do. It's what do you think Pep will do?
What would Pep will do? No, I think
he's left him out a couple of times now, but
I think he'll start Haaland. And in Haaland's defence, he has played a lot of football. I remember the Exeter game. He started that game. Did he really need to play that game? Probably not. And then you got Champions League and then your league. And the one thing about Haaland, he's still getting chances. He's just not taking them. So
yeah, even last night when he came on,
yes,
he had a couple.
He did everything
one
right.
particularly dragged it just wide. Would you
have gone the keeper's near post there, guys? I just thought it all set up for the goalkeeper to go that way, and he went that way. I thought he was going to do a cheeky one when he was just going to go to the near post.
Well, it's very easy to say, should he have done this when you miss? If he'd have knocked it in, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But as he did miss, you go, well, yes. So it's easy after the event, but every striker will miss chances. Every striker will go through a phase, a little spell where things are not going for them. And it's clearly happening with him. He obviously got the goal in Europe, didn't he? But in terms of domestic football, shall we say, at present, he's going through a little bit of a sticky spell, but he's still got a smile on his face when he's missing, and so he'll bounce back. It happens to every single striker. At some point in pretty much every season, you'll have a little spell. And Anfield's actually the only Premier League ground that he's not scored at. So it's quite a record. He's got some record in this competition, hasn't he, Pep?
Oh, in the league, in the Carabao Cup,
the Carabao Cup, League Cup, whatever you want to call it.
Amazing.
It's remarkable how often he's got his team to the final. He's been a bit grumpy in press conference last 5 days. He had did you see the little rant about the net spend?
I didn't see that one. No,
well, he had this thing where they were going, they've spent so much. Everyone's saying, oh, you bought this player, that player, spent a fortune again in the window, and he's gone, no. He said there's 6 teams whose net spend is bigger than ours, and that our net spend is 7th in the table. He said the board should be giving me more money. I should be buying more players, all words to that effect. But I think there was a tinge of irony involved with it. At least I hope there's. And then there's obviously the constant questions he's getting about whether he's going to renew his contract, whether he's going to stay beyond the end of this season. He's been a little bit like bit like Al when Newcastle lose, a little bit grumpy. But I think getting to the final will cheer him up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard though, isn't it? Because the standards have been so high. Imagine winning the league 4 years in a row.
I know.
Imagine winning 4 competitions in 1 year. Imagine winning the treble when no one said he could do it. Everyone was saying he can't play that way over here. He's achieved everything and more. It's just... now other teams are more competitive and you want to bow out as the king, don't you? When it's not going your way, you are going to get frustrated.
He had one more rant, didn't he, about... Well, it wasn't such much a rant, but he wants Mark Gay in his side for the final. Did you see that one?
Yeah, we did that last night on the show.
I mean, I must admit, I did bow out on the final whistle, Micah, so my apologies for not sticking with you at that point. I thought I did well to make the whole 90 minutes.
His point was he signed Semenyo before the first leg of the Carabao, and he could play, and they signed Gay after, so he can't basically play. But rules are rules. I would always back Pep if I feel like he's been agreed with something, but that wasn't literally the rules at the start of the season, so we can't be complaining about them now, can we?
No. You can't. Rules are rules. Let's take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the other semi-final, which also, for different reasons, created a little bit of controversy about tactics, etc. Back shortly. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. City are in the final of the Carabao Cup. They'll play Arsenal. A hell of a dilemma for you, Micah, with two of your favourite teams. You knew I was going to mention that, didn't you, at some point? But it was a bloody hard watch, the Arsenal game.
I was working. I've seen all the highlights. I've seen the stats and everything.
I watched it.
What was the game like? Explain it in layman's terms to you, please, guys.
Fucking dull. I can't get more layman's than that. It was a clear tactical plan from Chelsea. First time he's played 5 at the back, or 3 at the back, wing backs, whichever way you want to describe it. And Arsenal obviously had the lead anyway, so they didn't take too many chances either, as they never do, really. They're very good defensively. So it was a little bit like absolutely nothing happened for an hour. It was a negative aspect, but you could see his plan was clearly, on the hour mark, roughly, he'll bring on Palmer and Estevao and then have a little bit of a go. Now, in the last half an hour, I would say Chelsea were on top. Didn't really create any chances. And then right at the end, Arsenal hit them on the break and score the goal. I don't think Arsenal looked in too much trouble. I understand why Rosenior did what he did. And he made the point, he got a lot of criticism because it didn't work. And you know what it's like in football. If it had a work, people have gone, let's say that, what a clever plan. But if it doesn't work, you get the stick. And he said that himself. He said it's easy in hindsight. So I understood what he was trying to do. A lot of the fans after I'll say, when they've lost, are going, oh, come on, you can't go out like that. You can't go out as a damp squib. You've got to give it everything, have a right go. And I also understand that aspect as well.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because if going back to the Newcastle game, they set up with a 5, but they was sort of on the front foot. And then Chelsea, obviously against Arsenal, have gone with a back 5, and it's seen as a negative. And just because you're playing a back 5 doesn't mean you're going to be really defensive. It just means you have more structure sometimes down the width of the pitch, if that's where they're going to try and expose you. I don't mind the fact that Rosenior is trying out different things, because even the other day when there was 2-0 down, it brings on subs. Yes, there was probably the subs to bring on. They end up winning the game 3-2 against West Ham. And then it goes into a 5 now. So he's still working out bits and pieces. And he is up against Arsenal, who are top of the league in really good form. So he can't really win unless he goes and blows them away, really. And I think we're looking sometimes too much into the tactical side of the game and, he should have done this or they should have went for it. And that's people's opinion and that is fair. And as a Chelsea fan, you do want to be on the front foot. You do want to play your best players. You do want to go all in attack. But if Arsenal go and score after 7 minutes, then it would have been game over like it was for Newcastle against Manchester City. So there's no real way of doing it. It's just how you feel on the day.
They obviously conceded 3 set pieces in the first leg of the semi-final, Chelsea. Arsenal, as we know, are brilliant from set pieces. And he did an interesting tactic from corners. I mean, I've seen it done before, but whenever they conceded a corner, Chelsea would put 3 players on the halfway line and meant obviously that Arsenal had to go back. Funny enough, I remember trying the very same thing. We did it in training with Terry Venables at Barcelona. He did it way more. He put 5 up. He said, let's see what they do now. We tried it in training all week, and by the end of the week, he went, not sure, let's not do it. But Rosenior did it. Having said that, I went to, and it's nothing new, but it's interesting tactic. I think particularly against Arsenal because they crowd your goalkeeper, and it means you can't really do that because you can't. Immediately, Arsenal put 3, they have to put 4 back because you always need 1 more behind. So I thought it was, he's obviously trying to think things through on that. And I think that's quite a clever way of defending against Arsenal.
It's hard though, isn't it, Gas? Because if you leave more up, I understand why they do it because you think one of your best headers will have to go back. But it also gives Gabriel more space in the box.
Correct.
And that's the last thing you want to give him.
If I were a striker in my day, I would have been going, I like this. Because what do you want as a forward? Let's say forward, not a striker, because obviously corners, you get defenders as well. What you want, the more space you get, the better. I mean, I know Arsenal crowd it and they score goals in a different way, but if you've got a bit of space, you can also, you've got half a chance of making a run, which makes it better. I actually, I went to Loftus Road to watch QPR against Coventry. QPR did exactly the same tactic. This was last weekend. They did exactly the same thing. As soon as Coventry got a corner, QPR put 2 wide players and 1 centre forward right on the halfway line. And Coventry were going, so they had to put loads of players back. And it worked for them. They ended up winning the game. They didn't concede from a corner. So it's not new. And I get it. And I particularly think against Arsenal because the way they score their corners and the fact that they crowd the goalkeeper, they do that thing where they all gather on the far post and all go towards the goalkeeper. So I think it did work because they didn't concede from a corner. They ended up conceding from a breakaway when the game was, obviously chasing the game right in the last few seconds. So, but Arsenal going on 4 fronts, Micah. 4 fronts.
You know what? They've been brilliant, haven't they?
They really have. No, they really have.
Because of the fact that after the United game, they had Leeds, didn't they? And to go to Elland Road and win 4-0 and be comfortable in the game. When we talk about psychology, Gaz, when you have that and sometimes you're beaten up, Arsenal had to win that game. They had to win that game against Leeds for their own confidence. And now they've gone there, they've gone to Elland Road where everyone's expecting them to drop points, maybe not lose, but draw, and then go into that game against Chelsea and go to the final. And you've got the squad to deal with it. Havertz back, Jesus back.
Great finish from Havertz as well.
Yeah, he's a top player though, isn't he?
He's a very stylish footballer, yeah.
I really like him. And now you're thinking, the real deal. And it's not being negative, but do you remember a couple of years ago, it was more than a couple of years ago, it's when I first started at radio. I remember doing it. And Liverpool were in for all trophies. And they ended up with the League Cup and not the Champions League of the league, I think it was. So they ended up with them 2. Arsenal now just need to take 1 cup at a time,
That could be a new football cliche that you've invented there. Take 1 cup at a time.
Take 1 cup at a time. Because everyone's going to be saying, the quad now, they'll do the league. They're at the top of the table of the Champions League, a League Cup and everything. 1 cup at a time. Don't get excited because I've seen it. Everyone starts talking about it. You start believing in the hype and then what happens? You end up with not a great deal at the end.
You're only as good as your last cup.
Correct!
I like this. There's quite a bit of chat going around, and there's always a lot of chat going around. This is football, and we were guilty of it ourselves. The Arsenal style of play is boring.
Who say that again? Sorry, someone said that? Or are you saying that? Or someone?
No. I'm not saying that at all. There's a lot of chat going around on social media. Beware. That their style of play is boring.
Well, it's not Barcelona entertaining.
No, correct.
But it's not boring. It's efficient. It's efficient. I've covered Arsenal a couple of times this season, and when you're there, it is very cautious. But what it is, it's very organised, and you can depend on this team. They get back in the shape very well. Defenders know exactly where they want to be.
Yep. I
would like to see their wingers stay a little bit higher, so when they get the ball, they've got a little bit more to do. I just feel like they're having to run from so deep. But I wouldn't say it's boring, because tactically, especially from a defender looking at it,
it's not boring when you're winning, Micah. Football is not boring when you're winning.
Exactly.
When I spoke to Ancelotti a couple of months ago, remember the interview? He went, fans want to win. He said, people talk about the football and all this, but he went, they want to win. And when you're winning, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And I think the Arsenal fans will be they ought to be bloody happy at the moment. Flying in the Champions League, flying in the Premier League, final of the Carabao Cup, still in the FA Cup.
I think the wider point though, guys, isn't it? I think Arteta has changed the way he wants to play. So do you remember when we first was covering Arsenal, when Arteta went there on Match of the Day, and there was energised, there was running all over, there was pressing, there was high, there was playing through the lines, all this stuff. But what Arteta has had to do, he's had to adapt to what his team needs and to get the best out of them. And if people want to call that boring, fair enough. Sometimes it is boring to watch, but it's efficient. And if they win the league at the end of the year, no one will care.
No, absolutely. You do what you do to win. I mean, I like watching them play. I don't find them boring. They've got too many good players for that. Before we go, Micah, deadline day, what caught your eye? Any transfer? The one that caught my eye, I mean, Liverpool signing the Stade Rennes defender, the great name, Jeremy Jacquet, or Jeremy Jacket. I quite like Jeremy Jacket. 60 million quid, eh?
The Oracle would normally have something to say with him. I've only seen clips of him, so I can't even go big. I can't go big. I did not see him from 2 or 3 years ago. I can't claim this one, guys. Okay, I've only seen clips, so I can't go big on him. I'm sorry.
He won't join till the summer anyway. They haven't signed anyone for now in the Premier League. Crystal Palace's window was a little bit of a shock. I mean, the club's in a bit of turmoil, but they have spent a hell of a lot of money for Strand Larsen, 48 million quid, a club record. And then obviously Mateta's move fell through because of, I think, an injury with his knee or something. Didn't pass the medical for Milan.
That's a lot of money for Strand Larsen.
I know. He's not 1 goal this season.
If he gets, I don't know, they must have thought Mateta was going. I mean,
clearly.
You've still got Mateta there anyway. And I'm sure he'll be fine to the end of the season. I think you just need to get Strand Larsen playing as soon as possible to get his confidence up. Because if you spend that money, he needs to hit the ground running next season because Palace could struggle next season.
If you spend that much money on a striker, that should give the striker confidence.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that sometimes.
I know it doesn't work like that.
Confidence thinking, I've been brought in for just short of 50 million. I need to score every game, otherwise I'm going to get hammered. As we've seen with the likes of Voltemada, although he scored 9 in 24, but he's only scored 1 goal in the last 18 games in all comps.
Yeah. One other line, because we were talking about net spends with Pep earlier on. Brighton are 20th in the net spend graphs. They've made 2.8 million euros in the last 5 years and actually in profit, which is bloody unusual for a Premier League football club. They're very well run. We know that the way they use data, etc., as do quite a few clubs now. I was reading a thing recently about a data company that they all use, and clubs like Hearts use them as well. Look how well they've been going. It's that Moneyball kind of. You remember that movie? Great movie. Great movie, and it seems to be working in football to a degree as well.
Yeah, it does.
Right, Micah, I've got to go because I've got to do Pilates. What about that?
You got Pilates, have you?
I've got it now. Yeah, 10 minutes time, so I need to run off. Get myself going. Pilates is brutal, you know. You basically lay down and do hardly anything, but it's killing. Stretching and stuff.
Good for the core?
Great for the core. You got to work on your core, Micah, as you well know. Fitness fanatic that you are. We'll speak on Sunday, no doubt.
Yes, I'll see you on Sunday.
Okay, but for now, that's it. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a good rest of your week.